bust and bust my chin. Bust my chin, bust my chin. I don't wanna be the type of guy that let fear win. Bust my chin, bust my chin. I don't wanna be the type of guy. Is it the bottom yet? I don't wanna be the type of guy. Is it the bottom yet? I don't wanna be the type of guy. Bust my chin, bust my chin. I don't wanna be the type of guy that let fear win. Bust my chin, bust my chin. I don't wanna be the type of guy. Is it the bottom yet? I don't wanna be the type of guy. Is it the bottom yet? I don't wanna be the type of guy. I'm trying to buy up everything. I'm trying to buy up everything. Everything. I'm trying to buy up everything. I'm trying to buy up everything. Market cipher on the screen. Market cipher on the screen. Eyes glued to the computer, looking for a bag or two. I don't wanna be the type of guy that let fear win. I don't wanna be the type of guy.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy FG, and this is our new weekly candle update, guys. So we just got a fresh weekly close, and I know you guys can hear me out there. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. Shout out to Bits of Wealth, man. Good to have you in the chat. Mr. Sala, Mr. Bloodsville, Mr. Jax Wins, Mr. N Wizzle, all you guys. Man, I love you guys because your guys' names are weirder than mine. You know what I'm saying? So we're just a bunch of weirdos, man. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff that we can go over in the charts. But first, you know, in the name of transparency, I have a scary story to tell you guys. Are you guys ready for my scary story? It's been scary, man. This is a scary environment that we're in. You know, market cipher, monthly oscillator waves dying, actually dipping all the way down to the 30. You know, RSI's losing strength here. So it's been a tough environment, man. When you pull anchored VWAPs from the highs, you know, we've got a lot of work to do to fix this trend, man. You know, I mean, we could come all the way up to like 105 and it's still not looking that good. There's a handoff here. And even if we came to this point here, it's like we're still not good here either, man. We are actually in a stage 3 downtrend, folks. And this is the backdrop of my scary story here. Because the environment being the way it is, it's caused me to make some bad trades. Indeed. So I have some trades that I got to show you guys. So this downward pressure, this stage 3 downtrend environment that we're in, it makes it tricky to, you know, it's like the environment isn't as back and forth and obvious as it was the last 2 months, at least for me. I don't know about how it is for you guys. But I was trying to long in here over the weekend. You know, not with the live account, with a challenge account. So I got caught by this wick here on my challenge that I was doing. So this was a slaughter calf account right here. That, you know, in hindsight, it was emotional trading that was going on over the weekend. But, you know, one thing about my overall approach to trading, especially nowadays, is even when I have stretches of trading like this that go really bad, like look at this shit, man. Entering super early, staying in the trade for a super long time, you know, leaving the house, doing errands, and then it pumps, but I'm not home to take profit, and then you stay in it, and then you get stopped out, and then you re-enter, and this was just a mess, bro. So, you know, this is a version of myself that, you know, I still battle with, you know, these types of trades. And so this dashboard's hilarious, bro. I didn't even take a single win. I didn't even take a single win on this challenge. So that's my scary story, man. I broke all my rules this weekend on a challenge. So I have to buy a new challenge for tomorrow, hopefully when some of these trade setups that I'm about to go over reveal themselves. But look at it. Look at it. I have to show you guys. What's the chat saying here? Black Levin says happens to the best of us.
Huh? No. Wait.
Whoa, brother, whoa. Get over here!
Huh?
These niggas out here snitching. They with the rat pack. Hit them with the chopper, that's the rat trap. Find them in that trash bag off the interstate.
So that's the scary story, folks, is, you know, I am a cat with 9 lives, and unfortunately, there's times where I use them, man. There's times where I use them, and, you know, my good friend FD White, let me turn off this scary music, bro. Give me a second here. Man. That shit's, it's hilarious, man. I don't know why, you know, sometimes I make these mistakes and I have these moments when I reflect on them. It's because I got a lot on my plate and I realize like there's times where I'm emotional, you know, trading emotionally. And it happens to the best of us, man, you know. Because what ended up happening was an amazing long setup. Like if I had just simply waited here patiently for a daily SFP, I would have easily caught this long entry, you know, back like all the way up to where I thought it was going to go in the first place, you know, which was potentially up here to these weekly highs here, you know. So what I'm doing is like on Friday, I'm imagining my Monday short. I'm imagining that it's already next week and that we're up here. And so we're down here, right? And I know we're going to be up here, but it's like, how do we get there? And as you guys saw on that account, I was FOMOing in on pumpage. I was getting in on a moment like here when my nervous system was telling me to, not my system, not my trading system, right? So don't trust your nervous system. Don't trust your gut, your digestive system. You have to trust your trading system. And what I teach is that if you want to take a trade, usually a high time frame candle sweep is the best entry, man. If I had followed my own rules, that was a really clean long there that unfortunately I wasn't able to take advantage of, because by that time I was long breach. It's not even like it was close, you know, like I ran out of capital long before that opportunity presented itself. And that's, you know, you're going to sit there watching everyone else have a good time because, you know, but this is how I treat challenges because most of the time the challenges do go over with pretty quickly. So the size here was insane. I was trying to pass this in a single trade, and this is what happens like a lot of the time when you try to do that, you know? So for me, it's a part of the game to have challenges fail because ultimately, like, I can get that, like, I need to get that funding quickly for the new year. So a couple attempts isn't the end of the world for me, but by being transparent about these moments, it helps me to not repeat them, man, you know? So going into like what is going to happen next week potentially, you know, I'm not in any longs right now trying to you know, get 2 hour short entries up here at the weekly highs. I'm just letting price action play out here. I'm not doing any FOMO type stuff because there's a lot of things that are scary, like this 5-day SMA starting to kind of curl over a little bit. I don't really like the look of the 5-day SMA, the fact that we're under it, hitting it as resistance here on Bitcoin currently. So even this daily high, I'm a little worried about. But obviously, if it busts up out of here, then that is a nice indication that we're probably going to get some better shorts. I believe there was another weekly high just a little bit higher up there. So, you know, depending on what happens tomorrow around this 5-day SMA, we might get some wickage up here. If you do get wickage up here, not that I would take a long up to that point personally at this point. It's kind of one of those wait and see type things. But if I did see a wick up to this point, I would take a short because that is some powerful monthly VWAP. You see this previous monthly VWAP resistance here. So if we came up and wick there, you know, we still remain bearish. And you're coming into a new week getting that major high time frame liquidity event up there. So, you know, that's a potential opportunity I'm looking at, is a short from this region right here. But if it's anything like what happened last week, you know, what happened last week here is it looked like we were coming up into those previous weekly highs, and then we didn't. We actually came down into the weekly lows, and there was the Monday trade was actually a long, like, even though it was very hard to anticipate that long, because look how close we were to the prior weekly highs at this point. You know, we were almost there, and then all of a sudden it just flipped around and went all the way back. And our textbook leapfrog setup was actually a long, not a short, you know? So sometimes you'll be thinking like, oh, it's going to come up here the highs, and then it reverses and it's actually a long back to the weekly VWAPs that you'd be taking. So, man, a lot of times weeks like to repeat how they behave, you know? So if back here we got this sudden turnaround and then the weekly leapfrog was actually a long, maybe it could happen again. And so that's a reason why I'm not like in a long right now, because it's quite bearish. You know, we're in this stage 3 handoff on a macro level. You know, you put that VWAP here, and you know, we're right there at that VWAP. So it's hard to tell if this can even bust out of that. You know, but if it does, maybe it's a forceful wick up, a liquidation event, take these stops, take this liquidity on these highs here, then we dump. So, you know, I think maybe there could be like a pump and dump, right? Maybe like a pump and dump or something like that. But regardless, whether it hits like these highs, the highs of the range or the lows of the range, I think that there's probably going to be a trade back to the middle of the range like that. So you have this kind of dual setup here, a mean reversion setup here. going into the new week where whichever way it wants to go, it's probably going to fight its way back to these weekly VWAPs. So that's just two scenarios that I'm looking at currently. So we just got a weekly close. So Bitcoin's weekly close looks like a doji with a lot of buying pressure coming up from below, but also a lot of selling pressure from above. So there is a coiling up, a compression before some sort of break. This is like a major hopium here. This green dot on the weekly. What do you guys think about this hopium on the weekly in the chats? Let me know. It does kind of look like an inwardly curved yellow oscillator, VWAP oscillator here. Shout out to Alexo Crypto in the chat, man. Thanks for popping in, brother. But I'm a little bit skeptical of this dot for now. That yellow oscillator is a little inwardly curved. The RSIs on the weekly have lost a lot of their strength. The money flow has been trickling out here on the weekly. I do think potentially that the yearly low might actually get taken before the new year. You guys can let me know what you think in the chat. But I think that there's a good chance that the low for the year is not in. So I do think this green dot is hopium. But when you get this type of green dot, there's definitely going to be pumpage and dumpage. The stops are still going to get hit. The candles are still going to get swept. When we look at this weekly chart, it's these candle highs, these green candle highs that we're looking at here. You know, like just boop, just come up, take those, and then we can go back down. You know. So, yeah, it's another reason why I'm not really trying to longing to a trade idea that you have. You know, trading on the way to your trading idea is always risky. You should be more reactive and stop trying to guess where the market's going. So if the market presents the setup, then you take it. Although I know that it can be tempting for you when you see an idea that's coming to trade on the way to that idea. But, you know, sometimes it works and sometimes it really does not work for me, guys. So I'd say be careful with that overall. And someone in the chat said, got it, so it's going up or it's going down. And yeah, man, that's, you know, that is the type of situation when a new week begins. It's a delicate period. And the environment lately, you know, it's not like we're opening new weekly periods far away from our weekly VWAPs. We are in a unique time where Bitcoin has been starting new weeks at the weekly VWAP. So, you know, when I come live on Sunday night for the new weekly candle, it just so happens that it's been that time for me. So, like, you can't say that that I'm that guy. You know what I mean? It really legitimately is that type of environment, you know, coming into a new week at the weekly VWAP. You kind of want to wait to see which direction it picks and react from that, as opposed to guessing. But that's just me. Julia Wynn says the RSIs are terrible. Yeah, man. And that's a big, you know, the RSIs coming down, losing their strength is a big deal. You know, it's like It's borderline fundamental. You know, you want these RSIs to be nice and strong and high for those strong moves to the upside. And there's just no telling if, you know, we could be in more of a, just a weaker period. RSIs are hard to go off of alone, but they help paint an overall picture. Right now we are seeing an emergent ascending structure here on Bitcoin. We just got that daily SFP, so that was a nice bullish price. Like the whales got a really good price right there when we took that previous daily candle. So like it would not surprise me if we came up into these resistances up here, but the problem is that we're in such a strong overall downtrend. Multiple VWAP handoffs into this thing, and also our typical leapfrog anchored VWAP strategy would have us looking for shorts up here. So a typical mean reversion would have you kind of rejecting off these previous weekly candle highs, and then your target, a relatively safe target, would be this previous week to date VWAP. Since it's previous weeks that you're shorting, the previous week's VWAP is a good target. But there's also technical lows. Like this low here was a very strong low, so you could slap a VWAP on that and just watch as that data set grows a bit. Right now it's small. Right now it's a little baby. Zoom in a little here. So instead of waiting for a correction all the way down to the previous week to date, you could put VWAPs on these technical levels, these lows here. Get out aggressively at those levels if you do end up entering some shorts at this range up here. That's just my plan. That's my plan going into the new week. Julia said the heat map looks bleak. Oh, man. AI Griff says, I could see a giant head and shoulders. Yeah, let's take a look at a potential daily chart head and shoulders. I think that's, you know, we would love to see that seismic counter rally, right? We would love to see more of a fight coming out of the bulls. But do the bulls have any level of strength beyond week to week movement right now? I personally don't think they do. I think that, you know, the bears are playing around the red levels. You know, the bears get to play around monthly highs and lows. The bulls are stuck in these little weekly, the orange range. So if you're a bull, you're stuck in the orange zone. And that's a brilliant metaphor, because the orange zone is the fat burning zone, and these bulls have been eaten, man. It's just been all-time high after all-time high every single quarter. And we got fat, you know. But if there was a failed leap, like for instance, if somehow my mean reversion trade failed and we broke up out of here and just started gapping up to a previous monthly high low, like if this trade didn't work, then I would start to change my tune. I would start to change my tune and think maybe there's something bigger going on from the bulls. But right now, like I said, I think that the bulls are confined to these weekly ranges, whereas the bears, honestly, I think there's a chance that the low's not in for the year, man. Poker Life and Trading says, let's be real, this feels nothing like October 2020 or March 2021 or November 2021. I'm going to have to like actually go to those points. See, this is what I thought. This is what I thought. Up here, October 2020. March 2021. Yep, in November. Yeah, I mean, that moment was definitely back here in definitely up here, man. People saying Uptober. I mean, people's coworkers were telling them to buy Ethereum and it's going to be the craziest Q4, and they weren't expecting the first week of October to be the top, you know. So yeah, these moments, this right here was you know, here and here for us. So currently, for now at least, we are in one of these weaker territories where, I mean, look at the money flows. See, the money flows have been trending down just like they did back here. Does make you think, see, these RSIs just cooled off. So we're like somewhere in here. I think around the market cipher community, there's a strong consensus that we're somewhere around here, which means that there's not a guarantee that we get that strong head and shoulders counter rally. What's more likely is a meandering and a sluggish, slow, boring death. As the new year to date comes, the new year to date is going to come on 2026, January 1 here. And if we don't get over that, man, well, then we slip below 3 year to date VWAPs. We slip below 2024, 2025, 2026. You put an anchored VWAP on these big VWAPs. Boom, boom. And then there will be a new one here. Currently, we are getting, that's what this current bounce is we're seeing right now what last year's VWAP has going for it. It's a very strong support, that previous year-to-date VWAP there. But this is also the VWAP, I think this is the VWAP from election. Yeah, it's just a VWAP from Trump's election. Caught the bottom here. But if that's lost, what that symbolizes is the sentiment of these traders has weakened in a way, in a volume weighted sense. These people who were bullish back here, these are their expectations. When you lose this VWAP, that moment right there, that's when these people get worried. AI Griff says, if we drop another 30%, will MicroStrategy be okay? I think they will be okay, but it's just going to be this slow ramp up of like public backlash and potential legal creep. The legality of what he's doing might get dragged into the public, but I think like most problems, it will fester and fester until it's a problem that's beyond any of our comprehension how crazy and big of a problem it could possibly be. That's the problem with a trade that you're unwilling to close. and I speak from my own, I'm not judging, I'm speaking from my own experience, because, you know, look what happens to an account like this challenge that I tried taking on Breakout. Look what happens when you don't accept wins. Like, a lot of these trades were great trades that I just didn't close. And look, I never accepted a win. And like, in the real world, if you never reward yourself, if you never pay yourself, the world is never going to reward you. It's never going to pay you. You know? So if this is how it is for us when we don't take profits and close bad trades, if we just double down into a bad trade and double down on stupidity, what happens to us? I think that's Michael Saylor's fate, is eventually it's not going to work out for him. How that unfolds, I have no idea, bro. But regular people can't double down on mistakes like he has. And don't let that be a bad example for you. Michael Saylor's proud that he was buying up at 125K. I'm not proud of these results. You know, I'm not saying that I'm this crazy sniper trader, you know, or that I'm this revolutionary. But I can't say I'm ashamed of it, because you don't want to be ashamed of your mistakes. I'm not ashamed of this, but I'm not proud either. I simply have to study it as if it's someone else's mistake. It happens to be my mistake, but I can't feel shame over this because, you know, something happened and it's like, whatever, you gotta, you know, what do you learn from it? But in the case of Michael Saylor, man, it's like, if you never accept a win, well, then what's going to happen to that trade? This is the second bull run in a row he's missed. That's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think that MicroStrategy's been a thing, and he rode this shit back here all the way up and all the way down. So, you know, I hope it pays off for him. I hope Bitcoin is the future for all you guys, all of us. We've been a community since hella early on. I do want crypto to succeed, so I guess I want Michael Saylor to win, but it just seems not right, right? On the last couple streams, man, I was talking about this 6-7 coin, and it came down back to my entry, so I told myself I would hold this for the new year because the community on Twitter looked strong, you know. It had corrected about 60 to 70%. It's corrected about in the 60s and 70s%, so it's kind of a joke right now. But maybe next year, if there's a narrative, maybe it could pop off, but the trenches are just not doing too hot right now, man. Because this narrative would have popped off a lot harder a year ago. But I'll stay for the sake of not, you know, being... I'm going to stick to my word with them. I'm going to stay in their little community that they're growing. And I'm going to see what they cook up going into the new year. It sounds like the family has some good partnerships that they're working on. So, meh. You know, I didn't sell my 6-7. I'm not going to, because if any of you guys bought that shit, I don't want to be the guy who dumped on you. So if we go down together. It is what it is. Yeah, man. A couple of these altcoins. Yeah, I mean, look at XRP. It doesn't really look that obvious that XRP has a short at the highs coming for it. In fact, XRP is already testing these weekly lows. It's totally different from what Bitcoin's doing. Doing a quick perusing. Maybe if you guys have Leapfrog, you know, see if there is a crypto that's far away from its previous week to date. Currently. It seems to me that across the board, cryptos have pretty much, they start the new week, last couple weeks, all month, basically. Cryptos have been starting the new week at the weekly VWAP and then expanding. And usually the move is like not what people think. And guessing during the weekend was not the play. The play was to like let Monday happen and like react to what happens after that. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Yeah, I mean, cryptos are looking pretty redundant right now currently. Look at Tron in a 5-day uptrend here. I think it's crazy. Okay, so Tron and XRP. Let's see. Two charts where I was like, maybe there's a long there. But I'm not touching anything. I'm not touching anything because Bitcoin is at this 5-day SMA resistance right now. I don't like this. It's not worth it to FOMO in here for me. But I will react bearishly to any touches of these resistances here. Yeah. Shout out to FD White in the chat, man. Dude, I'm really glad that you popped in because I watched your latest video. It popped up on my feed and I actually saw that you shouted me out, bro. So let me know, FD, if you would like to pop on a Discord call real quick. And pop on my live, man. Just shoot me a Discord message. No video or nothing, just a phone call. FD is he's a solid dude. He's thinking about, well, he passed a funded challenge, so he's sitting on 100K. He put out a video about how he wants to trade with the account. He wants to trade more. I think I said something to him the other day that kind of inspired him to like trade more on the account. But I actually wanted to tell you, man, like I didn't want to change your approach. Like I think you should stick with your approach, and like I think restraint is your superpower, man. And I don't want you to like do what I'm doing or try to be like me, because I go ham on my challenges, man. So that's my edge and how I pass challenges quickly. But I respect the way you treated that capital. I respect that, like, that it took you 2 months to pass that challenge. And I think that you should trade that account the same way you passed that challenge. So, I mean, if you have a way to pass breakout challenges quickly, then do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, in one trade, then just do it. If that's what the numbers are telling you, if you're passing 2 out of every 3 challenges or 3 out of every 4 challenges. But for most people, that's actually not the case. It just depends. But regardless, once you get that funding, I think it's very important to treat the account the way FD treats his accounts, which is like very, very small risk. And don't gamble with your live funded accounts. I know it does look like, I mean, I showed you guys some big payouts, like 36K in October and like 20K in November. But that was like tactical scaling in quickly at like the most prime entries, like those were versions of me that were very on point, waiting for the new week to begin and hitting huge candle swing failure patterns and trusting in that moment and scaling in, and the losses were very small, but the trade was a very big trade because of precision and timing. And that's what it takes. You know, sometimes I botch it. Sometimes I get the funding and I see the play and I still fumble it, you know. But I nail it a lot more than I ever used to. Because that's what pros do, man. A pro, you have to learn, a pro executes. It's not training anymore. You have to catch that football. You have to make that free throw. So if you make a mistake and you botch one of these moves, you have to learn from it. You have to adjust your system. Mr. Duke in the chat says, I just blew my 50k eval challenge account today. Sucks. Man, I'm right there with you, man. I just blew a challenge recently. The trick is to pick challenges that you can mess up on and you're not ashamed of. You know, make sure it's within your budget to account for the fact that it might take you a couple tries. There's nothing wrong with that, man. You're allowed to fail. You're allowed to mess up as long as you learn from it. Doesn't mean you're a bad trader. It means you're a good trader who makes mistakes and journals about them, thinks about them, fixes them. So I'm not going to say blowing your 50k eval is a good thing, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Bearcat in the chat says, please share your trades in the VIP. I do, bro. I do. If I enter something that is like high confidence and it's following my edge and my system, I'll tell you guys. And if you watch these streams, like I went over the setups I'm looking for going into the new week. So I really don't want to hold your hand. AI Griffin was replying to Duke. He said, just wait for a nice setup. We all take an L, then go back in. You should just be trading those nice setups only with proper risk if you have live funding, you know? You got to just get pickier, bro. I need to as well. There's weeks where I load up a challenge and flop and grope and lose it. You know, and it's like a reminder. It's another little lesson. It's like your monthly lesson that you need to be reminded every month because you're a monkey, you know. Ricky Spanish, good to have you in, bro. Shout out to our boy Ricky Spanish. He said, I'm down $20 on a breakout eval from being stopped out. My biggest problem is remembering to trade on breakout. What? You like forget that you're in the trade on that account, bro? That's I hope I'm understanding you correctly, but things like that are the reason why starting with trading with a small amount of money can be so tricky. Because it's hard to respect such a small amount of capital. Like if you have some account and what happens on that account is meaningless to you, it can be hard for a beginner to really treat that account with the respect it deserves. Meg says, does load up a challenge mean over leverage? No, I was just saying I bought a breakout challenge because I passed a 100K challenge in a single trade last week. I put a video on it on like Tuesday. But I jumped the gun. What I should have done is bought this challenge right here tonight in preparation for tomorrow. Because by buying this account early on Friday, I was tempted to trade with it. I got in because I knew that this pumpage here would happen, and I was confident in a higher short from a higher range up here. I was thinking I could just jump in on that and ride that up over the weekend, but it was just a slow bleed, a painful bleed, and also the size was out of proportion because I was trying to pass this in a single trade. I was trying to get this challenge passed before this big trade potentially happening tomorrow. And if I had been patient, that would have happened. I actually would have gotten my wish. It was actually a good idea, just executed absolutely terribly. But as you can see, if you were targeting a high time frame support, such as this prior daily candle low, your entry would have tagged, and you could have taken a trade at least back up to like that day's VWAP or something. But unfortunately, by that point, I ran out of capital on that challenge. I breached that challenge. Bitcoin looking like it's fighting its way up out of the rise, like the 5MA here, which has sort of declined a little bit, but it is fighting its way up. Oh, Ricky responded. He said, I'm not used to trading on my Mac, and I only want to trade breakout when I'm at the computer. I may open a trade on my phone and just completely forget. Man, you got to get in the right mind state to trade prop firms. It can be daunting if you breach enough challenges and it's like, am I ever going to get that payout? Am I ever going to get funded? Like, when does the suffering stop, you know? But yeah, and it's hard to even like respect the capital when it's just a challenge and it's just a test. I understand. You got to be in the right mind state for it. If you can trade live capital with funded trading like rules, that's honestly just as good. Because, I mean, you trade one risk for another. With the prop firms, you risk losing the challenge, and then they take your money. But with the live funding, you might potentially have a bad day, a bad psychological day, like the one I had at like the end of last year, where my dad was like in the hospital for heart surgery. My trade size was bigger than it had ever been, at least for like many, many years. I was trading with way too much size. And when the loss grew to a certain point, it became a fire that I was no longer able to mentally contain. And that loss grew and grew and grew. And so that was months of work thrown out the window. So when you're on live funding, just know that like you cannot have a tilt day. And you have to be very emotionally regulatory and understand what emotions that you're dealing with when you sit down on the computer to trade. If you've got a lot on your plate that has nothing to do with trading, it may not be the best time to trade. Like if your nervous system is under attack from people in your life, things in your life, it may not be the best time to trade. And so when you trade on prop firms, it makes those moments in time, those days that everybody has, it makes them not as bad. You just breached an account. You only failed a challenge. Whereas with the live account, you have to be trusted from beginning to finish. Does that make sense, guys? So pick your poison, you know? Duke said he likes Classic better than the Pro option on Breakout. I agree, man. The Classic, I think it's the perfect blend of price. I like the price of it. I like the lenient total drawdown rule. And I like the easy target, the 10K profit target. Once you try the other types of challenges, that Classic account feels real cozy. Definitely, man. Because the Pro accounts, it's like tighter margins and you got to be even more on point. And it's like, kind of seems like it's a slippery slope to them trying to bait you into a rule set where you clearly are going to breach a lot more frequently. You know? So I'm sticking with the Classics as well, man. I'm right there with you. One thing I wish Breakout would do is I wish that like I could marry my funding. Like if I passed this challenge, how come it's not like Top Step where I could trade both my 100K accounts simultaneously? Like when are they going to get that, man? Because I could open another browser, but it is a pain trading on two 100K accounts. Maybe when I'm in the Bahamas next month, guys, I'll ask if I ever get my chance to sit down with the Kraken people and Trader Main. Make sure you guys let me know, like in the VIP Discord, let me know the types of things you guys want me to ask the Kraken people. Let me know in here in our chat discussions, things that questions that or like features you want added, stuff like that, because I want to be a voice for you guys when I go to the Bahamas next month for that event. Should be fun. Yeah, when it comes to periods where you fail yourself, where like there's going to be periods in trading where your conscious goals are not lining up. You're not like you're putting the work in and the results not coming out. That's because hard work is foundational, but it doesn't necessarily get you to the next level. You actually need a system. It's about creating a system that works, where you don't even need discipline anymore. You know? Like discipline, like this whole mental game of tiring yourself out, having so much discipline and working so hard. You got to just trust your system more, you know? You end up kind of just overdoing it, man. You got to work smarter, not harder. You know, it's not about showing up every day, actually. It's about showing up the days that it counts. Mr. Dum Dum, but Dum Dum says, story time. I tried Breakout due to Nick and others pushing it. I got liquidated, but opens my eyes. I can do something. Shit, man. I mean, I'm definitely promoting it. I have my code in my description. Definitely, I guess, yeah, you could say I'm pushing it, but I'm using the platform. And it took me a little bit of work to get used to the rules, but I did end up profiting on the platform and making more money trading on the platform than I did referring you guys. So hopefully that at least means something, man. But yeah, I don't like the word pushing it. It's not like I'm slanging it, you know. It's a good service, man. They pay out really good when you really do finally figure it out. But those times that we fail, guys, fail ourselves, it's honestly not because we lack discipline or persistence or dedication. It's usually bad emotional regulation. The ebbs and flows of life batter us with emotions that sometimes we don't even realize until after it's affected us negatively. That in those times, it's, you know, your system gets stress tested. So make sure your trading system like accounts for the ups and downs of your life. I know it sounds bad, but just like how a life insurance, you got to think about life insurance in case you die. You got to think about what happens to your money if something bad happened to you or your family. Like, let's say something bad happened to a family member that's close to you, and now you're like mentally rocked really bad. You definitely don't want to be trading. you know, like don't let trading be your emotional outlet. Trading's the opposite of that. Trading, it has to be the trading is the process of slowly and systemically eliminating all of that. Not just from your trades, but like from your life. You're like being a more stable person with better emotional control. But you can't put it all on yourself, man. That's a big burden. You know, you think about how bad things could get. It seems impossible. You know, it seems like eventually there's just going to be that day that screws me, so why should I even try? But you should try. You should try to devise a system that survives those points in time. Barkeep says, what do you have to go through to get your money to cash? What is it like getting your payouts from Breakout? Well, they just pay out in Tether, so it's already in cash. You just tell them your address in the payout tab and they send you the Tether. But I mean, they're going to pay you in Tether, so it's up to you to use your own gateways, your own on and off ramps. So you got to add that to the equation as part of the challenge of it all. Andrew Cameron says, or a mother-in-law comes to the house every day for 2 months. What a tell. Yeah, man. Yeah, you never know when your mother-in-law might move in with you and just screws up your trading psychology altogether. Man, don't get me started about in-laws, man. Because I got some gripes about in-laws. But before I get into that stuff, I'm going to let you guys go, I think. I showed you guys some goofy emotional weekend trading that I was doing, but you know, the impact, it was small impact. So there's a lesson in that, even though I should stop doing that shit. But there's some good trades potentially tomorrow, higher or lower, probably higher, probably getting this monthly leapfrog, and probably a nice short at these previous weekly highs if we really get what we want. But if not, you know, this overall downtrend is scary, man. You know, this is a stage 3 downtrend. And here we are testing it. For now, it's a bearish retest. You know what I'm saying? So, guilty until proven innocent. And with that, I'll let you guys go. Much love. And I'll see you guys next week.